grabas video con tu papá, Max?
I was raised in the low country of South Carolina, where rivers cut through pine forest and stories were passed down like heirlooms, a tradition that is becoming rare with each passing day. I grew up fishing, climbing, watching the weather, learning from people whose knowledge came not from books, but from living close to the land. I didn't know it then, but that was science too. Later, I became a fisherman. I spent my time on the sea and climbing rocks, working with my hands, pulling traps, studying tides, reading sign in the water and on the land. That time gave me something that the classroom couldn't, a respect for the rhythms of nature and the wisdom of the people that live by them. I've seen fish disappear. I've seen children in coastal communities being taught science that didn't reflect their own realities, learning about faraway animals in a language that wasn't their own. That's why I walked away from the boat and into the classroom. And eventually, I stumbled into this project. This project is, well, it's the story of my life. Together with communities across Latin America and the Caribbean, we've created a new kind of science education, a new science communication tool, one that doesn't erase identity but centers it, one that speaks in Creole, Garifuna, Ulua, Wayu, Maya, and others, one that teaches biology, conservation, and climate science through the eyes of those who live it.
Uyesa tutu champale u 15 ba hench o bueno u maltratar ko bal chobe ma patli tu men ya me pala le te mango be ke lu chang ko tu chanu chang hele ku we pat ko tung 15 ko bu be kustal be ha wa mai ku cha ko be ku kul cha ko che ma patli al bit kas bitio be es que de por malo ku cha bu kustal tu men u kustal be mata che we yo ko lu me u kustal mismo le tio ha.
I call it STEM plus curriculum. It's science, yes, but it's also language, culture, memory, and hope. These are not just educational materials, they're seeds planted in classrooms, spoken aloud in the voices of children reclaiming their stories. And through it all of it, something beautiful has become clear. These materials show us that we're more alike than we are different. We all want our children to grow up strong. We all want clean water, healthy forests, and a future worth passing on. And when we teach science in the voices of the people, we begin to see the threads that connect us. I've watched students' eyes light up when they see their world reflected in a textbook written in their mother tongue. I've listened to elders say, no one has ever asked me what I knew before. And I've seen young people, indigenous, Afro-Caribbean, and rural, stand up and say, this is ours. My story is not separate from this project. It is this project. I've lived every turn I've taken, every rock I've climbed, every fish I've caught has led to this moment. And I believe deeply that if we honor the knowledge already rooted in our communities, we can raise a generation that not only understands science, but will want to protect the world with everything that they are.
I met Robby about 20 years ago on the back of the island by the Northern Fisheries Receiving Plant. I get to find out that Robby is a biologist, and he was doing a research for the lobsters and fish using the premises of the northern fishermen on the island. And I realized that Robby could be an asset, a preservation of the fishing industry and the mangroves. And also, because of the mangroves, protecting the mangroves for the juvenile fish and lobsters and etc., we have to protect all these things for future generation of young fishermen and for our country on a whole.
This is more than education. This is restoration. This is the future, spoken in every language on the planet. This is my story. It's the story of my life. But it's also the story of others. It's the story of Yadi, Castillo, Richard Peck, Aminta, Lianzo Knight, Suhiber Vies, and many, many others. And their story is part of my story. And to share a little bit more with you, here's my Maya brother, Hilario Poot Cahun.
¿Habías venido con tu papá, Max? ¿Ya viniste con tu papá? Bueno, listo para ver. Entró papel.
Maestro, al natural con hojas.
Vamos a llegar. Aquí había agua de antes. Oye, sí, cierto, porque acá está como medio húmedo.
Hey, Belice, my name is Hilario Poot Cahun. I am a proud Maya from the community of Tijosuco in Quintana Roo, Mexico. I graduated from La Universidad Intercultural Maya de Quintana Roo, WIMCRO. Studying at an intercultural university helped me realize that my language and culture have always contributed to solving global problems, long before we started calling them global problems. But these contributions have often gone unrecognized, while local knowledge has been silenced. After graduating, I decided to take a path of my own to make these contributions visible and to remind our children that their roots, their language, their culture are powerful. In 2017, I met Robby Thigpen. You have already heard his story. When I learned about the work he was doing, I saw it as a perfect complement to my life's mission. Together, with an intercultural approach, we began to build something beautiful, something that protects not only the environment, but also the pride of Maya children and the revitalization of the Maya language. We began by piloting 2 environmental science books in Yucatec Maya, designed for children in indigenous primary schools of Quintana Roo. The content was developed through a collaboration between Marine Conservation Without Borders and local educators. These materials were co-created, tested and taught by students from WIMCRO and public school teachers with support from families and communities. The pilot program lasted 4 weeks per book, with interactive lessons, dynamic activities, and assessments after each chapter. The feedback we received from students, parents, and teachers was powerful. We analyzed more than 90 hours of recorded classes and interviews, much of it in Maya, using a rigorous methodology to understand the real impact of the work, and the results were inspiring.
Basuti aki alik tumaya, pabi ka a Espanyol, pus maabiliti yung internet ng aki Maya, ng pus Maya, takik pala Maya, takita.
Yo ake men tu tum sa siya Maya, basta ke respeto veo tum sa men puro Espanyol.
The second book wasn't just used in local schools. It was formally adopted by the WIMCRO, where it became part of classroom instruction and community outreach. It was also used by the Universidad del Bienestar Benito Juárez to teach 3 sections of biology and sustainable development to Maya student teachers, an unprecedented step that marked a turning point in the integration of local knowledge into formal higher education.
Tene ni tsaik shok ti le biología pues ti la bash kabetin kansik bashe tu yala ti ton bash kabetin kansik utopile mishtan utsaba ti tom yetel bash kabetik meyatik bash kabetin kansik leush kukuchutune anal teptin kaba katimile yante humpel malop nukulil ti alinkansa ichlenahil shoka so kle machen lelo le anal tetsate no machen kanselan tanyanili ich mayat am le betke insoknalo kutano bich maya yetelemutano bich maya yanchati obupa talil ukanikop ukabale hegelas balchob kutak palote analtea ich kanstelam yetel ich mayat am so kle machen lelo lehela tuyanten yosal o insaikle shok asap malop waminanten unukulin lebetike kima ki volverake tu mentakin shoknalo bo tu chao kambalop tile analteoba kalsole katalon waituna hil shok le secundaria tu shletiobe tu manso le kansa tile shoknalo waite kuchirgela.
The University of Belize followed suit with a Maya language class. Students, professors, and communities saw themselves in the pages. They saw science, yes, but they also saw themselves. We've seen children raise their hands with confidence. We've seen parents cry saying, "This is the first time my child has learned science in our own language."
Esta lectura se trató sobre el caracol rosado. Pesa 2.3 kilogramos. Mide 35 centímetros. Vive 30 años en el mar. Se encuentra en el Caribe. Sirve para comer, para herramientas o también para la artesanía. Cienelo Cananta Baez.
And we've seen that this is only the beginning. Our next steps are clear. Expand the project to 32 indigenous schools across the state. Train more facilitators and teachers. Build more materials in Maya and in other indigenous and Creole languages across Latin America and the Caribbean. This is not just a curriculum. This is a movement. It's about restoring what was always ours. It's about teaching science without erasing identity. It's about the future spoken in the voices of our children.